How Disney vacations became too expensive for many Americans. Lil bro just used Klarna. Oh, the reason I was thinking about this video is because I saw a tweet that made me fucking laugh. When the mom guilt sets in because you're going to Disney without the kids, but then you remember why you booked a trip without the kids. Millennial parents are going too far. Who the is leaving their kids at home for a trip to Disney?
There is something about the energy in a Disney park at dusk that is, I hate to use the word magical, but it kind of... I
feel like it's a perfect time for the meat writer. I feel like I've immediately found a use for that meat writer reaction image.
In its Q3 2024 results, Disney reported disappointing park numbers, with operating profits dropping 3% year over year, and another blow to a stock that's down more than 15% in 6 months. Disney blamed the slip in performance on a softening consumer environment, saying demand isn't where they thought it would be, an issue it said could linger for several quarters.
I'm just telling you, it's so funny that you see this in the earnings report of like every fucking company right now. It's like they've all just been jacking up prices like crazy, and they're like, wow, customers kind of soft. Real shit, you millennials have polarized me towards Disney. I see the way that mouse makes y'all do backflips, and it sends a chill down my spine. Shut the fuck up. They're doing a backflip for the mouse, first of all. Second of all, you have a chill down your spine. Third of all, I've seen the way you react to Freddy Fazbear, and I get a bit of goosebumps myself.
Is a trip to Disney just getting too expensive for inflation-weary American families?
Yes, is the answer. It's just so funny that Bob Iger had the chance to leave at the exact perfect moment and did leave. He was out on top. Disney at its highest point. They called him one of the greatest CEOs ever. He had a published book, bestseller about his autobiography. He was out. Could have ran for president a few years. Instead, he's like, I gotta go back. I miss being CEO. Goes back in, is now there for all the problems, some of which he caused but wasn't around for the downfall, and now he's there, and now his whole reputation's been tarnished. Now he's gonna leave on a low point because he's getting fucking old. He's gonna have to bow out after like not being able to solve all these problems. It's crazy. It was the greed, it was the hubris, the greed, the pride, the hubris. Why does his rep matter if he's loaded? He was loaded before, dude. He was loaded before. In fact, you could make the argument that once you get to that level of wealth, your reputation matters even more.
Everything post-COVID is going through the roof because a lot of these physical venues closed for a year or two because of COVID, and now they have to make up. Also, a lot of increases in labor costs.
I feel like Disney didn't close for 2 years. I think Disney closed for like 4 months. My recollection is that Disney was like forcing its way open almost instantly. And they had like mask rules and distance, but they were open instantly.
Over the past 10 years, the average cost for a Disney World single park ticket has inflated more than 56%,
Sheesh.
Well above the national rate of inflation. And that, of course, doesn't include the cost of food, merchandise, lightning lanes, hotels, and airfare.
I'll never forgive Disney for what they did to the Fast Pass. Wait, what did they do? Well, what did it used to be? Fast Pass was free? It used to be free? Oh yeah, you could like reserve it, huh? You could just sign up for a time and then you could skip the line, show up and be there. But they got rid of that, and now it's just pay to win, right? Aren't you a millennial that went to Disney with no kids? No. I'm a millennial that went to Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser with no kids. It's a little different. It costs a lot more and is less time.
This is Jake Williams. He's a YouTuber and travel blogger and set out this year to answer the same question. Has Disney gotten too expensive? So he went to Disney World and compared the price of a one-day trip in 2024 to that same trip in 2017.
So when we add everything up, the hotel, the park add-ons, all the food, the total cost for a single day at Disney for 2 adults came out to a jaw-dropping $886 USD. In 2017, would have cost a total of $567.
Oh, I see. Fast Pass was free in 2017. Lightning Lane, free. Magical Express, free. Dude, the bus ride's $33 now? The bus is it should be free. The whole point's to get you there.
The park experience also feels more crowded and worse overall.
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense then. If the park is more crowded after they've raised prices this much, then lowering prices is not going to solve that problem. I understand the Florida one, but I don't understand why people go to the California Disney when you could just get the magic of driving around on the 405. Why go to a park when you could just enjoy the freeway? Just like merging lanes, looking out on the wide open 19 lane highways, cars packed wall to wall, the smog on the horizon. Like, it's so beautiful. And I just feel like people they're lost on their phones, or they're lost at Disneyland, and they're not enjoying the magic all around them.
Another frustration from Disney goers, over the past 10 years, the parks have been chipping away at previously free amenities. Things like the Fast Pass system, which was replaced in 2014 by Magic Bands, and then again by Genie Plus, and now Lightning Lanes, which now start at $30 per ticket per day. And those previously free Magic Bands given to resort guests are now only available to purchase. Even the free shuttle bus between the Orlando airport to Disney World resorts has been replaced with a private four-cost bus company.
When you look at all the stuff that they've been making,
$30 per ticket per day. You can only use it twice?
The median annual income in the United States is $74,580, meaning a family of four bringing in an average salary.
Dude, it's so funny. This is the median annual income. And then you see, like, if you ask Zoomer college graduates what they expect to get when they graduate, they unanimously respond like $118,000. $118,000 is like the default Zoomer expectation upon graduation. Gen Z is overestimating the average starting salary by $50,000.
Of course, Disney isn't the only theme park to raise prices. A one-day single park ticket at Universal Studios Orlando now ranges between $119 to $179, an increase of up to $20 in just 1 year.
This is going to sound crazy, but what if we collectively made an Atrioc theme park? Because I think the reason Disney can get away with this is they can charge, they don't have much competition. We can drive the cost down. I wouldn't call it Glizneyland, because that sounds like we could get sued. Maybe like Big A World, all right? But here, how do we keep the cost down? Here's what I'm thinking. All meals are called the stand special, just beans and rice. So no churros, no turkey legs, no restaurants. Just you get a bowl of beans and rice, upcharge for hot dogs. Sure, there'll be hot dogs. Can't really get around that. Afterpay? Yeah, Afterpay and Klarna are available for all purchases. We're supposed to keep it cheap. So I think there's no rides, there's no roller coaster. There's a projector playing Big A Clips VODs 24/7, and then a couple buckets on the ground you can sit on to watch. So you bring your family, you sit down, you watch Big A Clips with other people, you get a bowl of rice and beans. Yeah, there's a quack pond. So we'll have a little duck pond with ducks, and you can either feed them bread, gross, or you can throw rocks at them, hype. In fact, maybe one of them will just be Quack in a duck suit. There'll be a basketball court where you can play one-on-one with me, but the only rule is that I get to have like that Space Jam thing where you have like chains attached to your legs so you can't beat me. And then you know how like Goofy and Mickey walk around the park? We'll have like Houdat and Psychic and Evan Gao walking around the park. And they'll take pictures with you and like say their catchphrases. Like Psychic, he can't do the squeaker voice that well, but we'll get a voice box. And be like, hey, I'm Psychic. It'll be awesome. There's huge money in this. And this, by the way,
$4,700.
This is only going to run you $4,500 for a 4-day trip. Think about that, folks. Think about the cost savings.
A recent survey of 2,000 people by LendingTree found 45% of parents with children under 18 who visited a Disney park took on debt to do so.
I can't imagine how difficult it would be to be a parent struggling to get the maximum amount of joy out of a trip you put on debt. Like if your kid drops their ice cream and starts crying, it's like, it would make me break down. Because you have so much riding. They have to have a good time. I mean, my parents had, I remember we'd go on vacation. I remember when we lived in Germany, because my dad was stationed on the base, and we would go to a trip. You know, my mom was like, this is the only time we can make this trip. Because while we're in Germany, it's the only time we can ever go to France and see the Louvre or whatever. And I'm a kid, I don't give a shit about the Louvre. You know, and then we go there and I'm not having a good time and I'm kind of bored, and my parents would get so mad. They would get so mad. Like, do you understand what a rare opportunity this is? I don't know. The Louvre is sick. Yeah, I sure enjoy it now. I'm young. I wanted to play GameCube.
This is Brian Brennan. Brennan was a Disney pass holder for
Tell me he has
almost 20
kids.
years.
Tell me he has
Disney
kids.
World devotee that would take several trips to Orlando every year.
The math would work out to where, oh, it's a better option for me to be a pass holder. Get some discounts on dining, I get free parking. So the perks times the number of days going, made it financially viable.
Yeah, you're practically making money. You really pulled one over on them. By looping the perks, you found Disney's really fuming right now. Bob Iger's in his office. Oh, he's furious at the way you pulled one over on him, dude.
This until this past year when he decided not to renew his annual pass.
Then they took the fast passes away. Then they took the extra magic hours away. And then suddenly you wake up one day and you go, the 10% refund that I'm getting on discount at restaurants isn't necessarily adding up to the value when all.
It never was. I mean, you're right that it's worse, but it never was. It was never like you had a fucking amazing deal. Come on, bro.
Disney already announced it is raising ticket prices again by $5 to $10 for some tickets in 2025.
If you have 7 days with your kid in a Disney park, the odds are you might be a super fan, but more likely your kids are going to be super fans forever. And that's what they're going for.
And that's one group.
Yeah, that's the problem. So there's one great part of Bob Iger's book when he first takes the job, all right, to be CEO of Disney. And they're watching the Disney parade, and there's all these floats for all these characters, Simba and Aladdin and everything. And he notices that all the characters that the kids love, there's nothing from the past 10 years. For example, all their movies at the time, even though some of them are good, they didn't hit in the way that like those movies did. But it's the idea that like Brother Bear and Atlantis, all those movies from that era, they were like on and off again. They did kind of well, but they had no smash hits. They had no franchises. He was like, the first thing we need to do is like, we need new content. He said basically the lifeblood of Disney is good new content for kids. Like we have to have franchises that they love and want to watch and talk about for decades. And so from there, he realized we can't do it. So they just bought their way in. They bought Pixar, they bought Marvel, they bought Star Wars, right? Basically in the book, they realized like we can't make that good shit anymore. We can't make Aladdin, so they just made money moves and then bought the companies that could, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars. And then now we're later on, and that worked for a time. They got a bunch of Pixar stuff, but now Pixar's kind of entering a fall off era, like a repeat 9 sequels era. Star Wars is in a fall off era, and Marvel's in a fall off era. So now all that buying worked for a bit, but now they've kind of Disney-fied it and they need something new. And if they don't get some new franchises or new hits, the way that like Bluey is, like if they don't buy Bluey or something else that gets kids, then they're in a tough spot. Like they need the pipeline of kids wanting to connect with the brand. They had that with Frozen. Like Frozen was a huge hit. But they haven't had a Frozen. What about Inside Out? Inside Out 2 was a smash hit. I mentioned that. Inside Out 2 was a smash hit. Pixar's biggest hit maybe ever. But I think it kind of hit at the right time. People wanted a family movie. There wasn't a lot of competition. Inside Out 2 doesn't seem like a franchise that you can build around the same way. Lilo and Stitch live action? I mean, yeah, that's their creatively bankrupt idea now. For the past few years, they've been, okay, well, we don't have anything new. What if we re-release every single 90s Disney movie live action? If we do Aladdin and we do Lion King and we do Little Mermaid and we do, that's what they're on now. But even that is gonna, run out. So